Dr. He-Jin Kim's day began like any other on Space Station Hope. He sat at his desk, looking through his research notes about alien animals. The space station floated quietly in the darkness of space, far from Earth, but close to several major space trading routes. He-Jin loved his job as the station's main animal expert. Every day brought something new to learn about the strange creatures that lived on other worlds. He had studied everything from tiny space bugs to giant floating creatures that lived in gas clouds. But nothing could have prepared him for what was about to happen that day. The first sign that something was different came when the station's alarms started making soft beeping sounds. He-Jin looked up from his work, wondering what was going on. Usually, the alarms only made that sound when an unplanned ship was coming to the station. "Dr. Kim, please come to the control room right away," said Captain Yuri's voice through the station speakers. Her voice was calm, but He-Jin could tell something unusual was happening. When He-Jin reached the control room, he found everyone staring at the big screen on the wall. A massive black ship was approaching the station. It was at least 3 times bigger than any human ship He-Jin had ever seen. "It's a Mornathi ship," Captain Yuri said quietly. Her hands were steady on the control panel, but her face showed worry. He-Jin's heart beat faster. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the Mornathi. They were huge creatures that looked like a mix between Earth's bears and tigers, but much bigger and stronger. They were famous for being fierce fighters and for not liking to be around other species. Most people try to stay far away from them. "They're asking to talk to our xenobiologist," Yuri said, looking at He-Jin. "That's you." He-Jin walked to the communication station, trying to stay calm. "This is Dr. He-Jin Kim, xenobiologist of Space Station Hope. How can I help you?" The screen lit up, showing the face of a Mornathi. The creature's golden eyes looked straight at He-Jin. Its face was covered in thick, dark fur with silver streaks, and its teeth, each as long as He-Jin's finger, showed when it spoke. "I am Commander Kai-Han," the Mornathi said in a deep voice. "We need your help with something very important, something that has never been done before." He-Jin noticed that Kai-Han spoke very carefully, like someone trying hard not to frighten others. This was strange. Mornathi usually didn't care about scaring other species. "We would like to come aboard your station," Kai-Han continued. "We have a proposal that could change how our peoples work together." Captain Yuri stepped forward. "Commander, we would be happy to welcome you, but our station has rules about weapons." Kai-Han nodded. "We understand. We will follow your rules. This matter is too important for pride or usual practices." 30 minutes later, He-Jin stood in the station's main meeting room with Captain Yuri and Dr. Jae-Yun Park, their child development expert. They had called Jae-Yun because Kai-Han had mentioned something about young Mornathi. The door opened, and Commander Kai-Han walked in. In person, the Mornathi was even more impressive. Kai-Han stood nearly 3 meters tall, with powerful muscles visible under the formal uniform. But what surprised He-Jin most was the careful, gentle way Kai-Han moved, like someone trying not to break delicate things. "Thank you for meeting with us," Kai-Han said, sitting down on a specially strengthened chair. "What I am about to ask has never been done in the history of our species." He-Jin leaned forward, curious. "What do you need our help with?" Kai-Han's expression became softer, something He-Jin didn't think was possible for a Mornathi. "We want humans to take care of our children." The room went completely quiet. He-Jin thought he must have heard wrong. The Mornathi were famous for being extremely protective of their young. They never let other species even see their children, let alone take care of them. "I understand your surprise," Kai-Han continued, "but we have been watching humans for a long time. We have seen how you care for your young, how you will protect any child, even those not your own, how you have special places just for taking care of children." Jae-Yun spoke up. "You mean like daycare centers?" "Yes," Kai-Han nodded. "We are warriors. Our society focuses on strength and fighting skill. But our numbers are getting smaller because both parents must work to defend our territories. We need help caring for our young while we work. He-Jin's scientific mind was already racing with questions. But why humans? There are many species that could help. Kai-Han's golden eyes seemed to glow. Because you are the only ones who understand. Other species see taking care of young as a duty or a job. But humans, you love it. You treat all children as precious, even if they are not your own species. We have seen human teachers cry with joy when their students succeed. We have watched human doctors work for days to save one sick child. The Mornathi commander stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. Our children are everything to us. We would die to protect them. And we have seen that humans would do the same, even for children not their own. That is why we choose you. He-Jin looked at Captain Yuri and Jai-Yun. This could be the biggest change in human-alien relations since Earth joined the galactic community. But it would also be a huge responsibility. How many children would we be caring for? Jai-Yun asked. To start, 10 young ones, Kai-Han replied. Their parents are our most important warriors and leaders. If this works well, more would follow. Captain Yuri stepped forward. This would need approval from Earth government. We would need to build special facilities, train staff. We will provide everything you need. Kai-Han said quickly. Money is not a problem. We only ask that you treat our children with the same care you give your own. He-Jin stood up. Commander Kai-Han, this is a big decision. But speaking as a scientist who has studied many species, I think this could work. Humans and Mornathi are very different on the outside, but we share something important. We both believe that taking care of children is one of the most important things we can do. Kai-Han's face showed what He-Jin thought might be a smile. Then you will help us. We need to make plans and get approvals, Captain Yuri said. But yes, I think we will help you. As they worked out the details, He-Jin looked at the huge Mornathi commander and thought about how strange life was. Here was one of the galaxy's fiercest species, trusting humans, who were physically much weaker, with their most precious treasure. Maybe being physically strong wasn't the most important kind of strength after all. The next few weeks would be very busy. They would need to learn everything about young Mornathi. What they ate, how they played, what they needed to grow up healthy and happy. But He-Jin felt excited. This was a chance to show the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in weapons or technology, but in their ability to care for others. As Commander Kai-Han left to report back to the Mornathi ship, He-Jin started making lists of everything they would need to learn. This was just the beginning of something big, something that would change how humans and aliens work together forever. 2 months after Commander Kai-Han's visit, Space Station Hope looked very different. The empty storage area on Level 3 had become Starlight Nursery, the first place in the galaxy where humans would take care of Mornathi children. Dr. Jai-Yun Park walked through the new nursery, checking everything one last time. The walls were painted in soft colors that both human and Mornathi children found peaceful. The floor was covered with special padding that could handle the weight and claws of young Mornathi. Large windows looked out into space, protected by the strongest safety glass available. Is everything ready? He-Jin asked, walking in with a tablet in his hands. He had spent weeks studying everything they could learn about young Mornathi. I think so, Jai-Yun answered, looking around the room. The sleeping areas are set up, the play equipment is installed, and the kitchen is stocked with their special food. She paused near a wall of safety supplies. Though I still can't believe how much they can eat. He-Jin smiled. Well, they do grow to be 3 meters tall. They need lots of food for that. The station's speakers came on. Dr. Park, Dr. Kim, please come to the main dock. Captain Yuri's voice said. The Mornathi transport ship is arriving. Jai-Yun felt her heart beat faster as she and He-Jin hurried to the dock. This was the moment they had prepared for. The first time in history that Mornathi would trust their children to another species. When they reached the dock, they found Commander Kaihan waiting with 10 small Mornethi. Well, small for Mornethi. Each child was about the size of a human adult, with soft fur and different shades of brown and black. "These are our young ones," Kaihan said proudly. "They have been told about humans and are excited to meet you." One of the young Mornethi stepped forward, looking at Jai-Yun with curious golden eyes. "Are you going to be our teacher?" the child asked in a voice that reminded Jai-Yun of thunder, but softer. Jai-Yun knelt down to be at eye level with the seated young Mornethi. "Yes, I am. My name is Jai-Yun. What's yours?" "I am Dasal," the young one said. "Father says humans are very smart even though you're small." Jai-Yun laughed. "That's right, and we're very excited to learn about you too." Over the next few hours, Jai-Yun and He-Jin met all the Mornethi children. Each had their own personality. Dasal was curious about everything. Yunho was quiet but loved to draw with special reinforced crayons. Mei-Rei was already showing signs of being a natural leader, organizing the other children into games. The first challenge came during lunchtime. The children were used to eating meat that was barely cooked, but human safety rules required all food to be properly prepared. Jai-Yun worried there might be problems. But when she brought out the special meals they had prepared, meat cooked on the outside but still rare inside, served with vegetables that Mornethi children needed for their growth, the young ones were curious to try it. "This tastes different," Mei-Rei said, taking a careful bite. "But good different." He-Jin watched from nearby, taking notes. "They're adapting much faster than we expected," he told Captain Yuri, who had come to check on things. "They're naturally curious, just like human children." As the days passed, more surprises came. The young Mornethi loved story time, sitting quietly as Jai-Yun read to them from both human and Mornethi books. They were gentle with their human caregivers, always careful not to use their strength or claws when playing. One day, while the children were having their afternoon nap, Jai-Yun found He-Jin looking at his research notes with an amazed expression. "What is it?" she asked. "I've been comparing their behavior with what we know about Mornethi adults," he said. "The children are showing signs of emotional intelligence that adult Mornethi never display in public. They understand and care about others' feelings. They share. They comfort each other when someone is sad." Jai-Yun nodded. "Maybe the adults can do these things too, but they hide it because they think it makes them look weak." Their conversation was interrupted by soft crying sounds. One of the younger children, Subin, was having a bad dream. Before Jai-Yun could move, she saw Mei-Rei already awake and moving to comfort Subin. "It's okay," Mei-Rei said softly, using her gentle purring sound that Mornethi made to calm their young. "The humans will protect us. They're small, but they're strong in here." Mei-Rei touched her chest where her heart was. Jai-Yun felt tears in her eyes. These children, from one of the galaxy's most powerful species, trusted humans completely. They felt safe enough to sleep, to cry, to show their feelings. Word began to spread through the galaxy about Starlight Nursery. Other species were shocked that the fierce Mornethi had trusted humans with their children, but they were even more surprised by how well it was working. Commander Kaihan visited regularly to check on the children. One evening, after watching Jai-Yun lead the young ones in a game that taught both playing gently and basic math, the commander spoke with He-Jin. "When we first decided to ask humans for help, many of our people thought we were making a mistake," Kaihan said. "They said no other species could possibly understand our young ones. But now, they see we were right. Your people have a strength we never expected." He-Jin looked curious. "What strength is that?" "The strength to be gentle," Kaihan answered. "To be patient. To show love openly. These are things our people find difficult. We are warriors. But our children need both strength and gentleness to grow properly. Humans understand this naturally." As the first month turned into 2, then 3, the success of Starlight Nursery became clear. The Mornethi children were thriving. They learned to play games that taught them control over their strength. They practiced speaking softly when needed. They even started teaching their human caregivers some Mornathi customs and games. Other Mornathi parents began asking if their children could join the nursery. The waiting list grew longer each week. Plans were made to open more nurseries on other human stations. But more importantly, something was changing in how the galaxy saw humans. They weren't just the new species anymore, the ones without much physical strength or advanced technology. They were becoming known for something else: their ability to care for and protect the young of any species, even the most dangerous ones in the galaxy. One day, Jia-Yun found Do-Sol looking out the big window at the stars. "What are you thinking about?" she asked the young Mornathi. Do-Sol turned to her with those intelligent golden eyes. "Father says that long ago, Mornathi used to think being strong meant being able to fight well. But now he says true strength is being able to take care of others, like humans do." Jia-Yun smiled and sat next to Do-Sol, both of them looking out at the stars. Something amazing was happening here, she thought. Not just taking care of children, but showing the galaxy a different kind of strength. The strength found in gentleness, in patience, in love. The success of Starlight Nursery was just the beginning. Nobody knew it yet, but this was the start of a change that would affect the whole galaxy. And it all began because the fiercest species in space saw something in humans that humans sometimes forgot about themselves. That true strength often comes in unexpected forms. Security Chief Ta-Wan Lee always started his morning rounds at Starlight Nursery. Today, like every day for the past 3 months, he checked all the security systems carefully. The nursery had become the most protected place on Space Station Hope. Taiwan watched through the observation window as the Mornathi children ate breakfast with their human caregivers. Young Myray was helping Subin cut his food into smaller pieces, while Do-Sol told stories that made Jia-Yun laugh. The scene looked so peaceful that most people would never guess these children came from the galaxy's most feared warriors. The first warning came from the station's outer sensors. Taiwan was checking the nursery's emergency exits when Captain Yuri's voice came through his earpiece. "Security Chief, we have 3 unidentified ships approaching. They're not responding to our calls." Taiwan immediately went to the nursery's security station. The screen showed 3 sleek, silver ships moving toward the station. They didn't match any friendly species designs. "Dr. Park," Taiwan called to Jia-Yun through the nursery's internal communication system. "Please begin emergency protection procedures." "This is not a drill." Jia-Yun and He-Jin immediately began moving the children to the nursery's safe room. They had practiced this many times, making it seem like a game to the young ones. But today, it was real. "Everyone, we're going to play the quiet game in the special room," Jia-Yun said calmly, even though her heart was racing. "Remember, the one who stays quietest the longest wins." The children, sensing something was different, followed without making any noise. Even the youngest ones understood this was serious. Suddenly, the station shook. The unknown ships had opened fire. "They're Visari ships," Captain Yuri's voice reported. The Visari were known for stealing technological and biological secrets from other species. They're trying to force their way into Docking Bay 3. Taiwan rushed to the nursery's safe room. Inside, he found the children huddled together with Jia-Yun and He-Jin. The room's walls were made of the strongest materials available, designed to protect against any attack. "The bad people want to take us, don't they?" Mireille asked quietly. "Like the stories our parents told us about the Visari." Taiwan knelt down to look the young Mornathi in the eyes. "Nobody is going to take you," he said firmly. "We promised your parents we would protect you, and that's what we're going to do." Another explosion rocked the station. The Visari had managed to dock and were cutting their way inside. Taiwan could hear the station's security teams moving into position. Chief Lee, one of his officers, called through the radio. "The Visari are heading straight for the nursery. They have some kind of gas weapons." Taiwan made a quick decision. He called all available security personnel to the nursery. "Form a defensive line," he ordered. "No one gets through to these children." The first Vizari appeared at the end of the corridor. They wore silver armor and carried weapons that shot clouds of sleeping gas. They'd probably wanted to capture the Mornathi children alive to study them. "This is your only warning," Taiwan announced through the corridor speakers. "These children are under human protection. Leave now." The Visari leader laughed. "Humans, you are the weakest species in this sector. What can you do against us?" Taiwan didn't waste time arguing. He activated the corridor's defense systems. Metal barriers dropped from the ceiling, forcing the Visari to fight their way through each section. Inside the safe room, Jai Yun and He Jin kept the children calm by telling stories and singing songs. De Sol, the most observant of the young ones, watched the humans carefully. "You're not afraid," De Sol said, sounding surprised, "even though the Visari are bigger and stronger than you. Being bigger and stronger doesn't matter when you're protecting someone you care about," He Jin explained. "That's something humans learned long ago." The fighting got closer. The Visari had better weapons, but the human security teams had something stronger: the absolute determination to protect their charges. They fought with everything they had, using their knowledge of the station's layout to outmaneuver the invaders. Taiwan organized his teams carefully. Some used the station's maintenance tunnels to attack the Visari from behind. Others operated defense robots that could fight through the sleeping gas. Every human on the station, from engineers to kitchen staff, helped in some way. The Visari hadn't expected such fierce resistance from humans. They had thought capturing children from a daycare center would be easy. They were wrong. Hours passed. The Visari pushed closer to the nursery, but every meter cost them dearly. Human security teams fought with desperate courage, refusing to give up even when injured or tired. Then something unexpected happened. The station's long-range sensors detected new ships arriving. The Visari leader saw them too. "Impossible," the Visari commander said. "They couldn't have gotten here so fast." But they had. 3 massive Mornathi battleships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the station. Commander Kai Han's voice boomed through all communication channels. "You dare to threaten our children." Kai Han's voice was filled with cold anger. "You dare to attack those we trust with our young." The Visari tried to retreat, but it was too late. The Mornathi ships quickly captured the invaders. When Commander Kai Han and his warriors boarded Space Station Hope, they found something that amazed them. The human security teams still stood at their posts, tired but undefeated. Not one Visari had gotten anywhere near the nursery. The children were safe, playing quietly with Jai Yun and He Jin, as if nothing had happened. "You fought like Mornathi warriors," Kai Han told Taiwan, respect clear in his voice. "But you did something even we might not have done. You protected the children without killing any of the attackers." Taiwan stood straight despite his exhaustion. "We're not warriors like you," he said, "but protecting children is something all humans understand. We would give our lives to keep them safe." The young Mornathi, hearing that the danger was over, came out of the safe room. They ran to hug their human caregivers, careful even now not to use too much strength. "See," Mireille said to Commander Kai Han, "I told you humans are strong." "Not here." She flexed her arm muscles like she'd seen adult Mornathi do. "But here." She touched her chest over her heart. The news of how humans had defended the Mornathi children spread quickly through the galaxy. Other species began to look at humans differently. They had proved they weren't weak at all. They just had a different kind of strength. That evening, as things returned to normal, De Sol asked Jai Yun a question. "Why did you stay with us? You could have run away when the Visari came." Jai Yun smiled and hugged the young Mornathi. "Because you're our children now too. And humans never abandon their children." The Visari attack had failed completely. Instead of stealing Mornathi secrets, they had revealed something important about humans. When protecting those in their care, especially children, humans could be just as fierce as any Mornathi warrior. The galaxy learned an important lesson that day. True strength wasn't just about physical power or advanced weapons. Sometimes it was about the determination to protect others, no matter the cost. And in that kind of strength, humans had no equal. Sun Ma-cho sat in her office on Space Station Hope, looking at the messages filling her screen. As the station's diplomatic officer, she had never been so busy. After the Visari attack 1 week ago, everyone in the galaxy wanted to talk about humans. The message currently on her screen came from the Galactic Council itself. They wanted to know more about how humans had earned the trust of the Mornethi. Sun Mai thought back to her conversation with Commander Kai-Han the day after the attack. "Tell me, Commander," she had asked, "why did you really choose humans to care for your children?" Kai-Han had looked at her with those intelligent golden eyes. "Walk with me," the commander had said. They had gone to the observation room above the nursery. Below, they could see the children playing with their human caregivers. Yum Dasal was showing Jai Yun a traditional Mornathi game, while He Jin helped Su Bin build something with large blocks. "Look at them," Kai-Han had said. "What do you see?" Sun Mai had watched carefully. "I see children playing with their teachers. They look happy and safe." "Exactly," Kai-Han had replied. "But look closer. See how the children are careful not to hurt the humans. See how the humans show no fear, even though each child could easily harm them." Sun Mai noticed these things now. The young Mornethi, despite their size and strength, moved gently around their human caregivers. The humans, in turn, treated the children with natural affection and trust. "We chose humans," Kai-Han continued, "because you understand something that other species don't. You understand that strength and gentleness are not opposites. They are two parts of the same thing." Now, sitting in her office, Sun Mai began writing her report to the Galactic Council. She explained how humans had shown their true nature during the Visari attack. The security teams had fought fiercely to protect the children, but they had done it without killing anyone. They had shown both strength and mercy. A knock at her door interrupted her work. It was Mai-Ray, one of the older Mornathi children, with He Jin accompanying her. "Miss Sunma," Mai-Ray said politely, "could you help me with my project? I want to write about why humans and Mornathi work well together." Sunma smiled and gestured for them to sit down. "Of course. What have you learned so far?" Mai-Ray settled carefully into the reinforced chair. "Well, humans are different from other species we've met. When the Visari attacked, the humans didn't run away. They stayed to protect us, even though they knew they might get hurt." "That's true," Sun Mai said. "But why do you think we did that?" Mai-Ray thought for a moment. "Because you care about us. Not just because it's your job, but because you really care. Like my parents care about me." He Jin nodded. "That's very observant, Mai-Ray. Humans have always been this way. Throughout our history, we have protected children. Any children, not just our own." Sun Mi turned to her computer and showed them some historical images from Earth. There were pictures of human adults sheltering children during wars, crossing dangerous places to get children to safety, sharing food with hungry children, even when they had little themselves. "You see," Sun Mai explained, "humans believe that all children deserve protection and care. It doesn't matter what they look like or where they come from." As if to prove her point, they heard laughter from the nursery down the hall. Looking out, they saw Taiwan, still recovering from injuries from the attack, sitting on the floor and reading stories to a group of Mornathi children. "The other species don't understand," Mai-Ray said thoughtfully. "They think being strong means never showing kindness. But my father says the strongest warriors are the ones who know when to be gentle." Sun Mai added this insight to her report. The galaxy needed to understand that humans weren't weak. They just had different priorities. Other species fought for territory or resources. Humans would fight the hardest to protect those who needed help, especially children. Later that day, Sun Mai attended a meeting with representatives from several species who wanted to learn about the Starlight Nursery program. Many were surprised to see the security videos from the Visari attack. But how did the humans fight so effectively? Asked a representative from a warrior species. They are not naturally strong or aggressive. Commander Kaihan, who was also at the meeting, answered, "They fought with something stronger than aggressive instincts. They fought with the determination to protect. There is no greater strength in the galaxy than that." The representatives watched more videos, showing how humans interacted with the Mornathi children daily. They saw how the human caregivers handled problems with patience and kindness, how they taught the young ones to control their strength through games and stories. "We have been wrong about humans," another representative admitted. "We thought their gentleness was weakness. Now we see it as a different kind of strength." Sun Mei finished her report late that night. She wrote about how the Visari attack had revealed something important. Humans might not be the strongest or most advanced species in the galaxy, but they had qualities that other species were just beginning to understand. The next morning, she found Dusol waiting outside her office. The young Mornathi held a drawing. It showed human and Mornathi figures standing together, protecting smaller figures of many different species. "This is what I learned," Dosol said proudly. "Strong doesn't always mean big or powerful. Sometimes it means being kind and brave. Like humans." Sun Mei hung the drawing on her office wall. It seemed to say everything that her long report to the Galactic Council was trying to explain. Humans had earned the trust of the galaxy's most powerful species, not through force or technology, but through their natural instinct to protect and nurture. As she looked out her window at the stars, Sun Mai thought about how the galaxy was changing. Species that had once dismissed humans as weak were now seeing them differently. They were beginning to understand that there were many kinds of strength, and that the ability to care for others might be the greatest strength of all. The Visari attack had failed in its goal to steal Mornathi secrets, but it had succeeded in revealing something else, a secret about humans that even humans sometimes forgot. In a galaxy full of powerful species, humans had found their own unique way to be strong. Project Director Minho Kang stood at the window of his new office on Earth's orbital station 1, looking down at the blue planet below. 1 year had passed since the first Mornathi children came to Space Station Hope. Now, he was in charge of opening new nurseries across human space. The door chimed, and his assistant entered with a data tablet. "Sir, the numbers from the new facilities are ready," she said. "Would you like to see them?" Minho nodded and took the tablet. The screen showed information about 20 new nurseries, all built in the past year. Each one cared for children from different species, not just Mornathi. After the success of Starlight Nursery and the story of how humans defended it, other species had started asking if humans would care for their children too. A message notification appeared on his screen. It was from Jai-Yun Park, still running the original Starlight Nursery. He opened it and smiled at the image he had sent. It showed the first group of Mornathi children on their graduation day. They had grown so much in the past year. "Remember how it all started?" a familiar voice asked. Minho turned to see He-Jin Kim walking into his office. The xenobiologist had been promoted too, now serving as the chief advisor for all the nursery projects. "Hard to believe it was just 1 year ago," Minho replied. "Who would have thought that one brave decision by the Mornathi would change everything?" He-Jin sat down in one of the reinforced chairs they now kept in all offices for their larger guests. "The latest research results are amazing," he said, showing Minho another data tablet. "Children who attend our nurseries show better emotional development than those who don't. Even the most aggressive species are seeing positive changes in their young ones." Minho remembered the first days after the Visari attack, when everything had started to change. The Galactic Council had sent observers to study how humans ran their nurseries. They had been amazed by what they saw. "The humans don't just feed and watch the children," one observer had reported. "They teach them, they play with them, they comfort them when they're sad. And somehow, they do this for any species, adapting to each child's needs naturally." The door chimed again. This time, it was Commander Kaihan, now the official Mornathi representative to Earth. The commander had changed too. showing emotions more openly than before. Good news, Kai-Han announced. The Galactic Council has approved the expansion program. They want human-run nurseries in every major sector of the galaxy. Minho brought up a star map on the wall screen. It showed all the places where new nurseries were being built or planned. The spots of light spread across the galaxy like stars themselves. Did you see the latest message from Disol? Kai-Han asked. The young Mornathi who had been part of the first group was now helping to teach other Mornathi children about humans. She says she wants to be a teacher when she grows up. A teacher, not a warrior. That would never have happened before. Hejin smiled. And she's not the only one changing. Remember Myre. She's studying to become a diplomat. She says she wants to help other species understand each other, just like humans helped understand the Mornathi. Minho looked at another report on his tablet. It showed how things had changed in the galaxy since humans started caring for other species' children. Trade had increased. There were fewer conflicts. Species that had never worked together before were starting to cooperate. The nurseries are changing more than just the children, he said. They're changing entire societies. A sound from the computer interrupted them. It was a live feed from one of the new nurseries. The camera showed a room where young ones from 5 different species played together under the watchful eyes of human caregivers. Among them were children of species that had been enemies for generations. That's what humans do best, Kai-Han said softly. You build bridges. You show us that differences don't have to mean distance. The door chimed once more. This time, it was Sun Licho, recently appointed as Earth's representative to the Galactic Council. She carried news that would change things even more. The Council has made a decision, she announced. They want to create a new position, Galactic Coordinator of Interspecies Education and Care. They want a human to fill it. Minho looked at his friends and colleagues. 1 year ago, humans had been seen as one of the weakest species in the galaxy. Now they were being asked to help guide the development of the galaxy's next generation. We should thank the Visari, Hejin said with a small laugh. Their attack showed everyone something important about humans. Kai-Han nodded. It showed that physical strength isn't everything. That the power to nurture, to protect, to teach, these are strengths too. Strengths the humans have in abundance. Minho turned back to the window, looking at Earth spinning below. Humans had finally found their place in the galaxy. Not as warriors or conquerors, but as teachers, protectors, and caregivers. They were the ones who could look at a child from any species and see not an alien, but simply a young one in need of care and guidance. The new nurseries were more than just places to watch children. They were places where the next generation of all species would learn to understand each other. Places where traditional enemies could become friends. Places where everyone could learn that true strength came in many forms. As he looked at the stars beyond Earth, Minho thought about all the children out there who would grow up knowing humans not as the galaxy's weakest species, but as its most trusted guardians, the ones who could be fierce when needed, gentle when possible, and caring always. The message that had started with one brave decision by the Mornathi had spread across the galaxy. Sometimes the greatest strength isn't in the ability to win battles, but in the willingness to care for others. And in that kind of strength, humans were teaching the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. As the sun rose over Earth's horizon, casting golden light through the window, Minho knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was changing, one child at a time, and humans were leading the way. Not with weapons or technology, but with something far more powerful, the strength found in kindness, understanding, and love.